Basketball is very good. Basketball is very good. Basketball is very good.
It's us. It's Chris Ryan, Jason Concepcion, Haley O'Shaughnessy, and Justin Verrier. We are your NBA group chat show. This is the after party for Celtics-76ers.
Great game.
We just saw it. You can ask us questions at #RingerNBA. You can send us comments at #RingerNBA. We're a little underwhelmed by the performance, but what are you going to do? It's like those guys were out dancing at Fabric for a couple of nights.
Yeah, it's tea time back on the East Coast.
That's right. I think that if I had one takeaway from the Celtics-Sixers, Celtics won 114-103, it's jet lag is real.
For sure. Jet lag is real. Yeah.
It affects everybody in different ways. It affected Joel Embiid slightly, I think. It affected Markelle Fultz so much that he didn't even play.
Yeah.
Any other takeaways you'd like to put at the top there, Justin?
I think it just shows when you have a good defense like the Celtics. I think
Yes.
you have something to fall back on when the environment isn't perfectly suited for you.
Okay.
Let's say.
Man, it's like the Sixers could have really used like a perimeter guy who could
Haley,
create his own shot.
I mean, that, maybe, I don't know, get Lou Williams.
Haley, it was the kind of game where, in the middle of it, we wandered off to ask you whether you'd ever heard of the rescue of baby Jessica McClure.
Yes.
That's the kind of relevant game.
The new thing is, like, have you heard of this, like, late 80s,
Early
90s
80s,
thing?
yeah.
Yeah, well,
Mid-80s?
obviously not.
Shouts to her, though.
Yeah, she rolled with it. It was
To
quite
me,
a tale.
oh, yeah.
Oh, Jessica
yeah.
McClure.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Celtics definitely could have used her. Maybe in the wing.
She's resilient. I do want to ask,
Can
though,
climb out of a hole.
you know, this kind of does, the reason why this game is so interesting in the first place is because these are two teams that I think we're going to be seeing a lot of going against each other over the years in the Eastern Conference.
Well,
I hope so.
I think so.
Look, I mean,
think so.
they're also two teams that have a draft pick that's very much like up for grabs right now, depending on what happens with the Lakers. I feel like you must feel much better about Boston, though, than you do about Philly. If you're watching this game, you're seeing Brad get so much out of so many different players here, whereas Brett Brown is essentially dealing with like 3 or 4 competent players at any given time.
I mean, it makes sense for the Sixers to be kind of peaking at a certain point, or they were peaking earlier in the season, just because it seems like they're all kind of hitting a certain wall. Like, Embiid is now just getting to the point where he's played a full rookie season.
He looks gassed.
Ben Simmons is getting to the point where he's hitting the type of game load that he would have hit in his first season in college.
Yes.
Markelle Fultz hasn't had any games or any load or anything.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense, and this is my problem with the process that I've always brought up. Like, they have their core now, but the whole problem is now they need 2 or 3 more years to, like, develop those guys.
Yes.
Well, sure, but also, this is what happens when you don't really have a great bench, and then you're at this point in the season.
To your point, it makes sense that Redick had a good game this game. It's a red flag when J.J. Redick is the best player on the floor for the Sixers,
it
but
also
he's the
stands
vet
because
guy.
he's probably the best prepared. He's a veteran guy who knows how to take care of his
Think about his
body.
podcast.
Yeah, he's probably just like, can't wait to get these live reads ripped off here. We have a couple questions. It's #RingerNBA if you want to talk with us, if you want to hit us up with questions or comments. This one comes from Copkeek, I think, is what the Twitter name is. The Sixers have a talented group with different skill sets that would appear to mesh as a unit, but are the individual players so one-dimensional, man, the 250 characters, so one-dimensional that the team as a whole is easy to game plan for on defense? Actually, quite a good question. I think that's...
Interesting.
To me, really, the problem with the Sixers is they just don't have that guy who, when everything breaks down, can get his own shot.
Yes.
That would be, and I'm sorry to say, it would be Markelle Fultz in theory. His skill set is perfect for this team. But, I mean, you see it now. Ben Simmons can't shoot.
Yeah.
Embiid is gassed, is shooting 29% from three now. Doesn't really score down low as much as you would want him to. Who do they throw it to when they need a shot? JJ is just out on the perimeter running around screens.
So much of his offenses comes from getting
right.
separation from screens. Yeah.
Right.
And just to the question that was asked, I might disagree slightly that most of it makes sense, especially when Covington is on.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Dario is the perfect fit for what that starting unit does, just because he's pretty duplicative of what Ben Simmons has given you.
And he just doesn't stretch the floor enough.
Yeah, I mean, the shooting is a huge issue. I think he would be good as a Ben Simmons for like a second unit of another team.
I think also when you're saying they don't have that one guy, that's where, like, if your other guys are kind of inconsistent, then it really hurts you. And we saw Covington go 1 from 5 for 3, Dario and Embiid. So on any given night, you kind of either have to have that one guy or a bunch of guys who can back you up.
Shouts to TJ McCocaine, though.
We've been having a lot of fun with the various drafting policies of these two franchises over the season, over the year at the Ringer. But I thought it would be fun if we did basically a lighthearted draft of the rosters that we saw today. Pool is the Celtics and the Sixers. Jason has the first pick. Ooh. Okay, so of the Celtics and Sixers rosters.
Hold on. So I have the last pick.
You can pick second.
How is this decided?
It's snake, though.
You can pick second. That's actually you have the catbird seat. Jason is the one who
This
has
is ages.
He
This
could pick. He could pick Fultz, like, you never know. Right. And like everything gets thrown off. So go ahead.
I'll take 4.
Pick Thies?
Fourth?
I'm going to take Jason Tatum.
Ooh.
Number 1.
Wow. For age and everywhere. Now, is it just how they performed in this game?
No.
It's
moving forward, starting
I'm
today.
going to take Jason Tatum.
It's moving forward, so we're accounting for their age, etc.
Sure.
Their injuries.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Are we counting contracts? Like the current deals that
Sure.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough to argue.
Sure.
Tatum 1.
Okay.
That's kind of a curveball. I'm going to go Embiid still, though.
Okay.
I'm still going to go Embiid.
This is a tough one because I
potential's
probably
too much.
wouldn't have gone Embiid there because of the injuries. I love Embiid. Perhaps future coworker, given his skill set. I might go Ben.
Ben Simmons.
That's a good
I almost went with Kyrie.
I am going to pick Markelle Fultz.
Yes!
The number 1 draft pick.
You're already tanking?
He's the number 1 draft pick. A, I am from Philadelphia. I know what I'm doing. B, I want to talk about this a little bit. Okay, so we've had Christmas Day. He came out on Instagram. He was like, I might have a Christmas surprise for fans.
It said he added 2 more hitches to his shot.
Then he was reintegrated into team activities over the last few weeks.
Great.
What does that mean?
And then he was in London in a room with Joel Instagram story, and he said, "Could have a London surprise for you guys." And the surprise
And no
was
follow-up.
There's no follow-up. There's no surprise.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to understand what surprises mean. I don't know what the surprise is, but
Well, okay, to be fair, he might have a surprise.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
Well,
you
there you
very
go.
much, Haley.
tweets and more want to know if I have seen the full shoot-around video today, and is he okay? I think if you mean if I am okay, it's getting tough. It's getting a little rough out here. I actually said to Jason today that the footage of Fultz playing is like basically it's like opposition research.
It's a false flag.
Yeah, it's so that like other teams don't know how to game plan for him when he gets back. True or
When will that be?
False. It's a cover-up.
That's 100% false. Like, when is he going to play? Does he play before the All-Star game?
What's that?
When will Fultz play? Before the All-Star game?
I think he plays before the All-Star game.
Sure.
Yes, I think they let him get like 1 or 2 games, and then they're like, let's reevaluate. It's a day-to-day thing. It's a day-to-day
It really
thing.
is day-to-day.
Did you guys want to do one more round of this
let's
Celtics-Sixers
go.
draft?
Let's go.
Okay, so it's your pick. I just took Markelle, so Kyrie's still on the board.
Kyrie Irving.
All right.
Pretty good.
So let's see. There's Jalen,
Yeah.
Al Horford, Gordon Hayward. I don't need it. I
Yeah.
don't need it. Pro GM. I'm gonna go with Jalen.
That's a great pick.
Okay.
Contract age.
This is tough. I might go with the Little Rock Covington.
Ooh!
Great contract.
2
3
for
and
8
D guy
today.
when he can actually shoot a 3, which is
Minus
not recently.
25 from the floor today.
That's fine. He's a second half player.
Second half of the season player?
Maybe.
Okay. I'm going to go with Gordon Hayward.
Good pick.
You know, he's got the brace
pick.
off. He's great at video games.
He
So you
really
are
is.
tanking. You have a hurt player, and you have a player that is something
Get a
else.
statue in the
You know,
Emergency center.
LeBron uses video
Bombing
games
for
to train
Bamba.
his mind.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's LeBron.
I will take JJ Redick.
I thought
Famed
we did,
podcaster.
Didn't
Is
we
he-
do 2 rounds?
We've done the 2 rounds, but it's,
yeah, yeah.
that could
Let's
be
go
your
deep.
that could be your your
That's my
assistant.
bench guy. That's my flex guy.
We do have another question from Periscope. Zugs Wang wants to know Meghan Markle or Markel Fultz.
Meghan Markle Fultz. I'm gonna take the
possible.
future princess.
Yeah.
Well, one was in
100%.
suits, right?
Yeah.
And one looks good in a suit. So tough to say.
It's gonna be
The hoodie suit combo
Who
is
do you
a
think
little
will have
rough.
a better next 5 years?
Oh,
White collar.
like
I get suits and white collar mixed up.
more
sorry.
successful or easier on them?
Ooh.
Hashtag Ringer NBA if you guys want to ask us questions. We did our draft. Let's do some what ifs. 'Cause
Okay.
this
Sure.
these teams are both a lot about future potential. It's like a lot of things are yet to be determined with these teams. So let me just go through some what ifs, and we can look backwards too. What if
Let's.
the Celtics and the Cavs had never made the trade for Kyrie and Isaiah? So
Oh,
we were
man.
out here, and Isaiah had like a new deal. Maybe Gordon Hayward's out there.
Okay.
Where do you think this in these standings?
Terry Rozier, starting point guard.
Where's Isaiah?
He's out. He's been out. His
Oh,
back
yeah.
isn't
That's right.
magically
Yeah.
healed if he didn't go.
That's
you know?
right.
You know, I still think that they're probably the 3rd seed right now, slotted somewhere in there, 3rd or 4th. I still think they're a good team. Brad Stevens has proved that he can get a lot of mileage out of guys that you don't think he can get out of. Can
Shane
really
Larkin.
stretch that roster as far as it can go. I still think they're a good team, but without the kind of punch that you see them have now.
Do they still have Gordon Hayward out? Because wasn't Kyrie the one that threw the pass that ended up with Hayward? That's
right.
Wow, we're really getting into like Looper territory.
That's right.
No, but I mean, if you look at the way they're constructed,
Yeah.
it's about the system,
Yeah.
and Kyrie is almost the guy that just scores enough offense and does enough
Yes.
stuff on that end to make it work. And Isaiah can do a good job of that, maybe not on the same level as Kyrie.
All the great systems that we look at in the NBA, whether it's like the Spurs ball movement system, whether it's the Warriors and the way that they play, they still have those individual scorers that can make the huge difference when games get tight or when something's not really going. They have Kawhi, they have Steph that have been able traditionally to get them victories. This is the one that's sort of been haunting the Sixers for most of the year. What if the Sixers never drafted Markel Fultz with the number 1 pick? So basically, we're talking about a Sixers team that's starting Ben Simmons, JJ Redick, Jason Tatum, Robert Covington at stretch 4, and Joel Embiid at center.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, my question is are we seeing this Tatum if he's playing?
Is Tatum this good?
Yeah.
Still, I'm not sure.
Here's my thing: is Tatum is on the perfect team for him because Stevens has been so successful in implementing a college-style structure into the NBA with the large roster, a lot of guys, a lot of turnover, everybody playing a role. So I think Tatum wouldn't be quite as good on a Sixers team, which would be asking a lot from him. But still, he's got talent that I didn't think he had. Like, just his ability to play off the ball, the way he looks like a veteran.
off the ball stuff
That's
is
the
nuts.
stuff that's really impressive to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say that having Jalen helps cover for him a little bit defensively
Sure.
because he's still young, he's still
Yeah.
building out his body. On the same, at the same time, having Embiid back there on the back line provides so much more for some of those guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
JJ isn't as exposed as much on the wing when you have Embiid there just to erase something.
Haley, here's a what if for you.
Okay.
What if Gordon Hayward never gets hurt? So are we still talking about Jason Tatum in the same way if Gordon Hayward's playing 32 minutes a night?
I'm not sure. Because the thing about rookies developing that fast, and yes, obviously he's like super talented off the bat, is the minutes.
Yeah.
That's it. Look at Donovan Mitchell, my favorite example.
He's getting the opportunity
Yeah.
to do this.
Will Ferrier on Facebook wants to know what if Chris Ryan didn't devote his life to the 76ers? I have a lot of interests. You know, I think that's something that people don't understand when they listen to group chat or when they're just watching something like this. I've diversified my portfolio.
I love spy novels.
Emotionally, like, I'm not exposed to the Sixers. I am exposed to the Sixers. Twitter, even though Fultz is out, is he still eating like he's playing? Do they have Chick-fil-A in London? No. I think that probably they are making Nando's runs. That's my guess.
What
You
if
ever been
his
to Nando's?
What if his surprise was that he found a Chick-fil-A?
That's good. I wonder whether or not that would have gone over well with Brian Colangelo. You know, I guess that we could just go to some more general what ifs here. What if the Sixers had drafted Kristaps Porzingis instead of Jahlil Okafor?
That's the big problem with the process, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to put all of your money in on the draft, you need to nail those draft picks.
Yeah.
And we're seeing not only them, but the Lakers with D'Angelo Russell. That was like a huge mistake. Yeah. Although the flip side of that is Kristaps, I guess, needs naps after every game now.
He's anemic. Can you just cut him a break?
Yeah.
So then who do the Knicks take?
Probably Frank Kaminsky.
Yeah,
That's
I
who
mean,
they
like,
wanted.
Devin Booker was that draft?
Yeah, but I don't think he was in the mix there. I think it was.
No, he was taken late.
It was pretty locked in top 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, they would have
Top
taken
4.
like it seemed like they would have taken Kaminsky or Okafor or something like that. That's
just
just
so wild.
Phil Jackson, big butt.
What would have
theory.
happened to you? That's the big what if.
I would be wandering the earth right now with a very long beard.
We have a couple of questions. You can ask us at #RingerNBA on Twitter. You get to us on Facebook. Are the Celtics the best young team in NBA history? Asks Damon Durbin. I don't know what that means.
I think he's going off of Zach Cram's wonderful article on the Ringer.com.
I just don't know how it's been half a
Are they
season.
technically a young team though? I mean, they've
know,
got
that's
2
what I
very
was
young
thinking.
players.
Collectively,
But
they are,
Horford
though,
and
because
Kyrie-
Thies is a rookie.
But Kyrie's like wild young.
Yeah.
Yabusele's a rookie, technically.
Yeah, that's true. You
so
forget about
They
that.
do have a lot of
But he
inexperience.
also has a lot of experience. Yeah, so it's
Sure.
hard for me to
Yeah.
slot him
It's
in
hard
as a
to
super
differentiate.
young player.
For sure.
Haley, here's a good one. A good what if. What if the Nuggets had kept the 12th pick and drafted Donovan Mitchell, forming a backcourt trio of Mitchell, Murray, and Harris?
You would have to
I
take them
actually did just
way more
engage Mitchell,
seriously.
Murray, and Harris in a lawsuit that I'm
Mitchell,
against.
Murray, and Harris.
I got dinged at Gelson's parking lot. No, I'm just saying. Mitchell, Murray, and Harris as the backcourt for the Nuggets.
I think then automatically the Nuggets would be a couple spots higher, even with the loss of Paul Millsap. Because I've always thought like their backcourt is really their problem.
Yes.
Is Mitch Murray and Harris the owners of the Glengarry Glen Ross company?
The one problem...
It's Mitch and Murray.
It's Mitch and Murray. I'm gonna go to Mitch and Murray and Harris.
I think that would be a really, really cool backcourt. I think part of what's
Better
happening
defense,
with,
too.
Yeah, what's happening with Donovan is that there has just been such an absence of offense on the Jazz ever since
That's
Jordan
true.
left that he is the first option down the floor every time. And they don't even throw perfunctory passes into Gobert anymore because he hasn't been playing very much.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is Murray and Mitchell might be a bit duplicative. Like, they're similar
Sure.
types. What they need is more... They probably just need Jameer Nelson back, someone to kind of, like, get everyone involved.
Yeah, if they had like a Drew Holiday, I think they would be cruising right now. I think.
Be good.
Another one from Ricky Pop. What if the Nets actually had their draft picks from the last 5 years?
Wait, does that
Probably
mean-
be the Celtics?
So does that mean
Seriously.
So does that mean that deal never happened?
Yeah. So here's the problem with that question.
The Looper effect.
Yeah.
The sliding doors there is that Atkinson and Marks then
Yeah, I was
don't
gonna
come
say
to
then
the
we don't have
Nets,
them.
Right.
and you don't have a team of basically. I mean, the Nets are actually putting together a hell of a season considering the fact that it's Dinwiddie, LeVert, and Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, and these like it's basically a bunch of scrap heap guys that no one believed
We
in.
don't have
Right.
Boston, Spurs, light.
Yeah.
Paul Pierce just retired as a Celtic last season.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know Jeff Van Gundy. I was listening to Zach Lowe's podcast, and he was talking about him for Coach of the Year. And I kind of am behind that take. Because where would they be if they didn't have that whole system that he's put in place there? Some of these guys have really just played above where they were drafted. And, like,
Without their two
talent
starting
level.
guards too.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's,
Dinwiddie
Dinwiddie has been incredible.
Yeah.
He is
Yeah.
awesome. We had a great piece on him today by Dietrich.
Those clicks.
Do you guys think Dinwiddie's an all-star?
No.
No.
Super 9. This is one more, and this is one that I was thinking about a lot this week because he's come under so much fire. It does feel like Luke Walton being under fire happened like 9 weeks ago now, just like the way time went this week. But Super number 9 wants to know, what if the Warriors had pulled the trigger on the Clay for Kevin Love trade? What's the ripple effect? So you automatically, I mean, you can make the argument that you would still see Cavs Warriors in the finals.
Yeah, but they don't get Durant.
Yeah.
Right? You'd still see Cavs Warriors in the finals, but I think you can make a case that the Cavaliers are the better team in that case.
Well, but you lose the post-up game. Kevin has been spacing out okay, not recently. But you do have another three-point shooter, which they're
I also want to see
missing.
here's the one thing is like when did Klay Thompson sign his extension?
Yeah, see, that's interesting.
Because I would just think that he would go to Minnesota for a year or two and then go to the Lakers, right? So he would be a Laker now.
Or what if the Cavs made the same exact trade, but they traded for Klay Thompson instead of Kevin Love? Then
Oh,
it's
so they
LeBron.
trade Wiggins for Love, bring in Love.
Oh, you guys are talking about back in Minnesota.
Well, in 2014,
oh, okay. Gotcha.
there was a rumor that it was going to be Clay to Minnesota for Love and Clay and something else for Love. And then the Cavs made the trade.
Yep.
But you're saying what if Love got traded from the Cavs to the Warriors?
Yeah, so let's say Love is on the Warriors now. Clay is on the Cavs with LeBron,
Yeah.
and Wiggins
Right.
is still on the
Right.
Wolves. I think that's an interesting what if.
That is an interesting what if. I think that LeBron and when's the last time LeBron would have had a shooter on the level of Clay?
Mike Miller?
Ray Allen?
Yeah,
Like,
Ray Allen.
Ray Allen.
Yeah.
You know, like when is the last time he's had a guy who doesn't need the ball like the way Wade has, the way Kyrie has, and there isn't that tension of like, hey, but it's a guy who's literally like, I just come under like a baseline screen, pop up, and it's good.
Yeah.
Korver's trying.
Yeah, but Korver's
isn't-
5 years too late for that.
Yeah,
right.
Korver's 150 years old.
Hashtag Ringer NBA if you want to
So
ask us
that's
some
great.
questions. Anyway, there was a question about Luke Walton. What if Luke Walton had stayed with the Warriors? Who would be coaching the Lakers? Would they be better or worse? What would the roster look
It would
like?
be an ex-Laker.
Yeah,
It would be
what other-
Slava Medvedenko.
Yeah, what other trash ex-Laker could they just bring in there based on nothing but nepotism?
Right.
Yeah.
And the
Right.
fact that like they know him from like 2 years ago. It's like great.
I don't know. This Luke thing is really tough right now. I was thinking about that moment where it was like the Warriors' job is between Kerr and Stan Van, and that Kerr was also thinking about going to the Knicks,
Right.
and just like all the different things. that
Was
could
he
happen.
though?
He said on Bill's pod, I think, that they had kind of been like, here's the job.
Right.
And he was like, let me think about it. And then the Warriors job opened
Right.
up.
They brought in a bag of dog poo and opened it up. Here's a job. Carry this around. It's $20 million though.
Some more what ifs. Johan von Slayer wants to know, what if the refs weren't crooks and we
Yeah.
got a Sacramento, New Jersey finals with those awesome squads? Who'd have taken it, J. Kidd or C. Webb? Johan, you're hanging on to some interesting baggage here, my brother. I do. The reason the refs thing is interesting is because refs have come up so much recently in the last couple of days with Draymond. And I think LeBron
This
also
is
talked
Draymond's
about-
burner account.
This is Draymond's burner. Johan von Slayer. That wouldn't be
It works.
surprised.
That's
Yeah.
not
Can we just let the refs live? Like, their lives must
Yeah.
not be great. Like, they're just getting yelled at by dudes all the time. They're probably flying commercial. I don't know what they actually fly.
Well,
Really?
They're flying commercial. Remember, they had that scandal several years back where the refs were like keeping their tickets and then reselling them.
Oh.
You can Google that, guys.
Do they keep the points, though?
Yeah.
Those are nice.
That's such a quaint scandal. 2017 and 18 have proven that is very quaint.
I pocketed the saltines.
Ian Place wants to know, what if Sam Hinkie was still in Philly? Would they have the success, thanks Ian, they've had this year?
They would have been better off because Colangelo hasn't made any good moves.
Yeah.
I don't think that they would have. I don't know that they would have Amir Johnson and James Redick on the roster.
Here's the real question: does an untethered Sam Hinkie draft Kristaps?
See, that's-
There's a lot of debate about who's picked that.
Yeah.
I think it might have still been Jaleel.
Really?
Yeah, I think everyone wants to write that off.
As like the owners made him do it.
Right, and I still don't know this for sure. I've heard that he was in on that. Plus, there was the whole thing leading up to the draft where they wouldn't let Kristaps go work out for the Sixers
Yes, they
too.
wouldn't release his medical
When has
record.
that ever?
Yes.
When has that ever mattered to?
Well,
you
with
know?
Sam, his whole thing is about collecting as much information
Yeah.
and just everything in general. He's like a hoarder, essentially, which is great.
I think the question is, would
information
Sam
order.
have done the Fultz deal?
That's a good question.
And there's part of me that actually thinks he would have, because
I think he would have.
The whole point of the process was to take home run swings like this and to
Yeah.
get in the mix to get these number one draft pick kind of guys.
I also think like the whole Fultz thing, will he, won't he play, what's going on with the shoulder, it's just so strange. You can't game plan for something like this.
Yeah.
Like whatever Danny Ainge thought he was doing, he definitely was not thinking Fultz has either something wrong with his shoulder or is so wrapped up in his own ability or inability to shoot that he's going to miss the entire season, essentially. Like no one thought that this would happen.
Counterpoint, though, hang out with Markelle Fultz for like 5 minutes, I would have been going the other way.
That's not.
Come on.
No,
Really?
yeah, I'm getting bad vibes from
watch
this
one
guy.
or two Instagram stories.
I mean,
Yeah.
watch any
That's
Instagram
enough.
stories. If you watch John Wall's Instagram story, you would think that John Wall's only friends are his dogs.
I was gonna
Maybe.
say that's the thing. It's like all of his dogs.
Every every Markel
Great
Fultz
Instagram story.
Instagram story is like what the best Chick-fil-A sauce is.
Right.
A couple more general what ifs. Or it's just some general questions from Twitter and Facebook. Which top 5 projected pick would make the Celtics scarier next year? So I guess this is the idea of 2 through 5, right? So like Boston gets 2 through 5, Sixers get 1, or 6 through 30. That's that Lakers pick that they traded with the Tatum Fultz deal. I've watched a ton of college basketball this year. I am obviously getting Trae Young vapors, but I don't know, Haley. Like you probably watched a little bit more than us. Like I mean, like
Sure, watched Louisville last night, and they won.
so you want the Sixers to draft Louisville? Like
Yeah, just as an entire team. Yeah.
I think Rick Pitino is available if they want him on the coaching staff.
It's still too
But you
soon.
know, Porter would be the most Sixers pick because he probably wouldn't play next year,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Are they still
Trae
doing
Young
that?
has just emerged way past everyone else.
I don't know.
Are the Sixers still doing that?
I
Like,
think I mean,
that's the thing.
I think Doncic would probably be the one that
Yes.
people would be like, this is the game changer, right?
Yeah, he'd be an upgrade over what they don't have in Fultz right now,
Right.
essentially.
What other ones we got? A couple other questions here. How would the Warriors do if you replace Draymond Green with prime Ron Artest pre-Malice at the Palace? That comes from
That's
Hot Takes.
insane.
How
would
deep
they
in
do?
Reddit are we right now? Like,
How would they do it? What?
7 pages deep.
Where is this question coming from?
Sean, you? Is that
Sometimes we get here.
You read it without knowing, and then I'm just like, I don't know how they would do. I guess they would have some of the same qualities.
Sure.
you?
Similar,
Same
yeah.
technical foul amount?
I don't remember Ron having as good of a three-point shot, even though Draymond isn't good as a three-point shooter. Draymond's also like one of the best point guards in the league.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like-
Yeah.
Here's my thing. I want to know, Tim Kawakami in the Athletic this week
Yeah.
threw out the Anthony Davis idea for the Warriors. That Anthony Davis is the next big target for the Warriors. This is very much like what big European soccer clubs were doing.
gives me
I
a
read
headache.
about it.
This is
They
Real Madrid
basically,
style.
like, speak it into existence. But the AD thing, adding another huge player like this would necessitate the breakup of the Warriors as we have known them in this title-winning run. This
For sure.
Steph, Kate, Clay, Draymond, Iguodala, yes, but Iguodala's on the back nine of his career. But that Clay, Draymond thing, do you think that is possible? Do you think that if you're the Warriors, are you like, we're just going to keep riding this until it sputters out down the line, whether it's, disease of more or, just injuries or people getting bored with playing this much every year? Or do you think Bob Myers is like, we have to refresh the mix here?
Keep changing parts is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like one by one.
Right. I have two things to say here. First, can we just stop it with Anthony Davis? This is exhausting, dog. I've been doing this for like 2 years of my life. I'm done with Anthony Davis trade rumors until this dude is literally like wearing shamrocks in his hair. Like, let's stop. Second of all,
Is this the last episode of Treme we're watching?
yeah.
Okay.
I could just play on a bugle horn or a bugle horn. The other thing is, I wrote about this the other day. Anthony Slater pointed out how bad Andre Iguodala has been shooting lately.
Yeah.
I think, and Draymond also been shooting really poorly from three. I think those type of things creep up on you quicker than you think.
Okay.
And it's a similar idea where you want to be ahead of the downslide.
Right.
So I think actually doing that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see them sell high on Draymond. I know he's like so important to their team spiritually, and he's the biggest competitor. He's the guy that counterintuitively steadies that team a lot of times. That said, he likes to party. He's a guy who just, when he loses that half a step,
He's ironically like a short guard.
it will ripple through his entire game.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised to see them sell high on him.
What do you think?
I have something I think people are really going to hate.
Sure.
But it's more of a question than like what I think. How many injuries does Steph have to have? If this keeps happening, it hasn't happened. He was very durable for a long time, but
the
he's
trash
already
ankles returned.
He's injured his right ankle twice this season.
Right.
How many more times, how many games does he have to miss in the future seasons for it to be him who's the trade piece?
I would say that Steph is the Warriors to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Kurt has said as much, that everything that makes the Warriors, particularly, they're a great team, what makes them special is the way that Steph makes them play.
Yeah, I agree.
And this rise of this franchise, and they're basically probably for a generation of fans becoming the new Lakers. The way that we think about the Lakers and the Celtics is the way kids think about the Warriors now. I just don't think you can separate in front of it. I think that's
They're
like
hanging
separating.
on to
I think that's
Bulls,
bird or
Derrick
magic
Rose
with the
Yeah,
Lakers.
as Michael Jordan once said, the ceiling is the roof, and I think that Steph is the ceiling for that team. Like they live under the space that he creates.
Yes, and that's and to understand how galactically important he is like the idea that KD came into that team and willingly was like, I'm here to score and play like off Steph and everything. You know, like it was never a matter of like Steph just gives up control of the team to Kevin Durant. It's been his team.
And to that point, Steph's plus-minus numbers, net rating, are like through the roof.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Even though he's not shooting like as he was like 2 years ago, 3 years
If
ago.
he could stay on the floor, I definitely think he would be in the MVP
Just the
conversation.
threat of him.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thought experiment this year with the Warriors is, what if they never got Kevin Durant? Like, where are they in the hierarchy of the league? I think the Rockets might be better. I think the Cavs might have pushed them more last
that's a
year,
great
obviously.
what if, because it's like, would the Rockets have made such aggressive moves?
Yeah, that's another
Knowing
thing.
Morey, probably.
Right.
But
Change the landscape.
to go and get a guy like Paul, who's only got 2 or 3 years of really like prime basketball left in him, if that, is such a flex.
And would Paul have thought it was okay? Maybe he would have thought, like, man, this threshold, I'm going to get crushed for this. But KD just went to the best team in the league.
Yeah.
So
I think if the Warriors make another run through the playoffs like they did last year, this year, I think you're going to see some wild move where a really great player takes even maybe even less money to go to like a Rockets. Like whether it's a Paul George, whether it's a LeBron, whether somebody is going to be like, there is no way to win unless the 3 or 4 of us are together.
Yeah.
I think Chris Paul shaving his head added at least another season and a half to his peak.
It's science. I mean, we've proven it out. Okay, so for Justin Verrier, Haley O'Shaughnessy, Jason Concepcion, I'm Chris Ryan. Thank you for joining us on the Ringers NBA After Party. We will see you again soon.
Basketball is very good. Basketball is very good. Basketball is very good.